If your Z-Wave network has more than a few devices, then you know what a hassle it is to reset your entire network if you ever have to reinstall your system. Or maybe you want to move your Z-Wave network from one controller to another because the first controller, randomly died while you were on vacation. Backing up our Z-Wave networks is something that every smart home owner should periodically do, and automating it makes it even easier. Thankfully, Z-Wave JS UI has the ability to both back up and restore our Z-Wave networks. So in this video, I will show you how to enable automatic backups of both of our Z-Wave network and our Z-Wave JS UI settings. We will then create a manual backup of those things and then restore that backup onto our controller. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you how you can restore a backup from one controller onto an entirely different controller. That way you're always covered. So let's get started. We want to set up automatic backup so that it happens without even thinking about it. So we go up to our settings and we go to the backup menu. These two options should be enabled, so make sure to toggle these on. The store backups will automatically back up the settings and files, and so you can set the maximum backup files to whatever you want. Make sure it's a relatively high number, that way you have a wide range of backups in case you need to restore. You can set the frequency that it backups with. I've used crontab.guru in other videos and in my personal projects for configuring what time things should occur. And so I'll put a link into it here, but this is where you would put how often you want your backups to run. Same thing with the NVM backup. So make sure to enable this, and it has similar settings to the store file backups where you can set the maximum and the frequency. Additionally, there is a backup on event option. When you add, remove, or replace a Z-Wave node with this setting enabled, it will automatically back up your settings before you add the device. So if you end up trying to update your device firmware, or you got your controller settings that you want to change, if you have this backup on events enabled, it will take a backup before doing anything that could potentially be damaging. So once you set these to your liking, go down here and click Save. I'm here on the control panel page. To back up the NVM, we can go over here to the hamburger icon and we can click Advanced Actions. Under the Advanced Actions pop-up box, there's an NVM Management section. Click Backup. The radio might turn on or off while you're doing this, so if you're actively using Z-Wave devices, you might want to wait until later. But none of my devices are being used right now, so I'm going to go ahead and click OK. In the upper right part of your screen, you'll say the backup in progress, and you'll see a number incrementally. It goes pretty quick for my system, and then it'll pop up with a box that where you can save your file. Make sure to save it at least locally on your system somewhere, but ideally you also save it to a cloud backup. Z-Wave JS UI does not support cloud backups at this time. Maybe that'll be a future update. So once you've saved that off, we need to back up the Z-Wave JS UI store. The Z-Wave JS UI store is a collection of files and settings that Z-Wave JS UI uses to save off your configuration. So go over here to the store option and you'll see kind of a folder and file listing here. You can go down to the gear and click on that, and you'll go up to the backup option. It will prompt. You can go ahead and click Save. Similar to the NVM, you can then download the backup file and put it somewhere safe. However, there's one situation in where your backups are completely worthless. Here, let me explain. Taking backups is great, but if you never test out restoring your backups, you have no clue whether your backups actually work or whether you just have some files that you exported. So we're going to test that these backups work on my main system, on the system I use every day. What we're going to do first is we're going to change one of these settings. Let's say we'll change the UI. We'll use the tabs for navigation. So it moves the tabs up here instead of on the side menu, and we click Save. In order to restore a Z-Wave JS UI store backup, not the controller, but the store backup, and then click the gear again, and you'll go Restore. You'll click Zip File, and then you'll browse to wherever you downloaded your store backup earlier and click Restore. Now, it may not go up here. You may still see this. And if you do, go to the Z-Wave JS UI add-on and click Restart. And once you head back to the Z-Wave JS add-on, it will restore it on the left-hand side, just as we had it before we changed that setting. So that means our backup worked. But that was only the store backup, though. We also need to test out the NVM backup restoring. This one is arguably more important than the Z-Wave JS UI store, is this one actually has all of your network configuration settings that are stored in your controller. So we got to make sure this one works too. So what I'm going to do is completely wipe the network that I use on a daily basis. If you enjoy watching someone completely nuke their Z-Wave network and restore from a backup, just to make sure it works for a video, and be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons for me. I really appreciate it. And now we go over here to the hamburger icon, we click Advanced Actions. It will bring up this box. There's the hard reset button. This is generally the one you never want to press unless you have to or something weird's going on. But I'm going to press it. So click Factory Reset. Make sure you've taken an NVM backup before you do anything, because this is what you'll be restoring once you factory reset. So make sure you have this backed up. All right, so click Factory Reset. It will basically say all paired devices will be removed. You can click yes. This won't factory reset the devices. It'll only reset the controller. So your devices will still work once you restore the backup, because the settings will then be the same. The security keys will be identical to what they were before. So that's really what this means. It's not factory resetting all of your other devices. It's just resetting your controller. So type in yes in here, and then we'll click OK. And in the background, you should notice that all your devices disappear, and you'll only have your controller shown in the menu. Okay, so now for the moment of truth, we're going to restore the NVM backup. So we'll go down here to the gear, just like before, and we'll go to Advanced Actions, and we'll click this Restore option this time. So make sure you pay attention to this warning here. Generally, if you're doing it on the same controller, then you'll be good. This is only if you're doing it for different Z-Wave controllers, maybe across different generations of chips. It might be a little sketchy depending on your scenario. It'll depend on what you have. But for me, I know that it's the same stick. The backup came from this one, so it's going to work when I restore it. And so they even have a compatibility check just to make sure that it'll work when it restores. So once you've uploaded the backup, click OK. Kind of like the NVM backup up here in the upper right. It will show a progress bar of the NVM restoration process. It goes pretty quickly on my system. It shouldn't take any more than a minute at most, but most likely it'll be much shorter. And so once you restart the add-on in Home Assistant, like I showed you earlier, you should have all of your devices back. That's pretty cool. Well, let's say you want to move it to a different system. You were on the GPIO version and you wanted to use a USB instead. So how would we do that? How would we take a backup from one system and put it onto another? It's very similar to the process we just did, except instead of uploading it to our original controller, we upload it to a second controller. So on my main system, I have a Zeus 800 series, it's a long-range USB controller. On a test system that I have the GPIO module, and we're going to do the same thing as what we did earlier. So go ahead and restore the NVM backup, the store backup, and then restart the Z-Wave.js UI add-on. And so when we go over to the Z-Wave.js UI control panel, now you might get a blank screen here after you restore the NVM and store backups and restart the add-on. There's one setting we need to change that is only specific for when switching controllers. Because my prior system was a USB, it was hard-coded to that USB path. Your new controller will be listed here. Mine is the GPIO module, so that's on AMA0. So we can click that one and then down here, click Save. And so once you restart the Z-Wave.js UI add-on in Home Assistant, you will see not only your new controller, but all of the devices that were paired to your prior controller. The one thing you might have to change, depending on if you manually set the name or not, is this name has the old name that I gave my old stick. So in this box, we can give it a new name and then hit the little airplane icon, or hit the paper airplane to apply it, and then it'll change the name. One final option if you have everything in Home Assistant is to use the Home Assistant backups. You can choose which add-ons you want to back up and restore. So if you are selecting custom add-ons, make sure you enable the backup of the Z-Wave.js UI add-on, but most people probably just do everything. So if you have everything, then all of your Z-Wave.js UI settings will be covered. If you're looking for a good video on how to back up and restore Home Assistant along with any add-ons, I'll link a video in the description of a good one that I think you should check out. With the Home Assistant backups though, you'll still have to apply the NVM backup manually. So do all of our devices still work after migrating from our old controller to the new one? How do we tell? Now we can test to make sure it works by expanding the source sensor and then going to one of the options like notification or battery. And if we open and close the sensor, the state will change. That's how we know that it works. But of course, none of this means anything if you don't have a good Z-Wave controller to pair your devices with. So check out this video where I review whether you should get a GPIO controller or a USB controller. I've reviewed a few controllers in the past, specifically from Zeus. I'll put them here on the screen and link to them in the description. And so I'll see you in the next one.